Hello and Happy New Year, my crafty friend. I am so excited to be here today with a journal inspired by manifestation. So sometimes in life, we are the manifestors, and sometimes in life, we are the hand through which the universe manifests something to somebody else. And for me, one of the biggest joys of being a part of the junk journal community, the crafting YouTube community, is the joy of Happy Mail, being able to receive beautiful gifts and share beautiful gifts. And so this journal is made up of manifestations. And I hope it sparks that beautiful joy and wonder in you that it sparked in me when I manifested all these perfect materials. Starting with the cover fabric, this was left over from a blouse that my grandma made for herself, and I just love it. It reminds me of ocean waves and the colors of the sea and the beach sand. When I received this fabric, I set it aside. I knew I'd make something special out of it, but I didn't know what that something would be until I unwrapped these gorgeous little glittery butterflies in one of the Happy Mails from my beautiful artist friend, Kat Stone. I'm so honored to call her a friend. She is one of the most talented, magical fantasy artists I've ever met. I've ever seen, the most talented I've ever, not even met in person yet. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Her work is just next level stunning. And it had this really pretty turquoise trim in it too, with the chain details. And I just knew that is what this fabric needed. And so anyway, I feel like the materials manifested themselves. I might zoom in a little bit here just so that you get more of a close-up. I'm learning how to do these things. So anyhow, I filled it up with just really pretty things, many of which I feel are manifestations. This page here is from a 1930s textbook for becoming an accountant. The paper just feels really, really cool. It has interesting fonts, interesting colors, archaic ways of bookkeeping from the days before the internet. This little card is a genuine piece from a Victorian scrapbook from the late 1800s. And then this is a print that I made of a different piece from that same scrapbook. You might remember me making these if you watched my 12 Days of Gifts to Make series. And then, of course, Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess of wealth and also of generosity. And in India, I was told that connecting with Lakshmi's principle, connecting with her generosity manifestation principle, means that whenever we have a surplus, we share that surplus with others. And if we're constantly sharing, constantly giving, constantly releasing, whether it's an abundance of our energy, so we volunteer to help others, whether it's abundance of material resources, and so we share that wealth with others, whether it's an abundance of supplies, craft supplies, so we share those with others, whatever it might be. When we always make a habit of sharing, we are always kept in that divine flow of receiving also. It's like the moment we close our hands to try to hold everything to ourselves, that's when we are now closed off to the universe sending more. But when we let things go, come and go freely, and we trust that we are part of this universal stream, we see so many miracles happen, so many manifestations. And some cool piano paper. So anyway, as I flip through these pages, I'd like to share a few of my life's interesting manifestations. I wrote a little list so I wouldn't forget any. Starting with when I lived in Vancouver, I've been through some fairly difficult financial times throughout my life, especially at that time when I was paying off my student loans from art school and trying to keep up with the ever-increasing cost of life in the city of Vancouver. There was a day I was on my way to work and, you know, low on groceries. It was payday that day, so I knew I was getting my paycheck in the evening, but as for the morning, I was down to my last $5, and I had decided that morning on my way to work to go to a little grocery store on my lunch break and to, you know, buy myself, I had planned what I could afford with that money. I could afford an avocado, an apple, and a little pack of peanuts. That was going to be my lunch. And yeah, so on my way to work, a homeless man approached me with tears in his eyes and asked if I could spare $5. He said he was $5 short of the price to, it could have been, he needed to take a couple of buses to get to a shelter, but he had a very sad story. And what he needed, of course, was exactly $5. And I just felt this was the universe showing me how wealthy I am. And without hesitation, I gave him that $5 bill and decided, you know what, how lucky am I that I have a bus pass so I can always get wherever I need to go, and my rent is already paid so I don't need to sleep in a shelter, and I can afford to miss one meal, but this man can't afford to miss his bus to the shelter where he needed to stay. So anyway, I gave him the $5, walked to work, said a little prayer for him and for everyone who was struggling. And when I reached the back door of the store where I worked, I looked down at my feet just as I was turning the key in the lock, because I kind of felt something brush up on my foot. I looked down and a gust of wind had blown a $5 bill right to my feet. And that was one of those first experiences I had in my 20s that proved to me never to be afraid of giving. And it's one of those spiritual lessons I've learned over and over and over again. If ever we feel like we're in a lack, it's time to look at what we have in excess and start giving, because the universe always, always, always rewards us, returns to us what we give out there. So just wanted to share that as a little fun story. I have used lots of beautiful small prints by my artist friend Kat Stone, including this just majestic looking nature queen. Look at her bracelet of leaves. Look at how much she just radiates abundance. I love the way Kat paints in the jewelry, the beautiful little blue peacock in her headdress, and the admiring gaze of this little creature. Just so magical. Thank you, Kat, for filling my journals with your magical art. I feel like thanks to her, I have a lifetime's worth of inspiration and journal theme ideas and materials to make them with. Ganesha, the remover of obstacles, so he can remove any obstacles towards the manifestation of the owner of this journal. This is one of my Victorian calling card reprints. This is some beautiful fabric made from Saudi Arabia. I love the color. I've used some pieces from this fabric, and then I've also saved all the scrap remnants because they're all just stunning. And I dangled some vintage beads with a beautiful sun and moon charm. The sun and the moon are so mystically linked and such blessed luminaries in our lives. So that's a very personal symbol to me now, especially because I had a really cool, accidentally space-themed birthday this year. Starting with a book of paper dolls that Kat made for me. 5 new dolls, and she named them each my favorite girls' names. You remember, if you saw the flip through of that book from her, Stella, Luna, Sola, Celeste, and Venus. So yeah, she gave me that beautiful book of paper dolls, each with a space-themed name. And then my beautifully talented, abundantly generous, just amazing friend May from Saudi Arabia gifted me with the most magical bracelet I've ever seen in my life. All my other bracelets got bumped to my other wrist because I feel like the one she gave me is so special and so magical that I want to be able to see it not get buried in beads, which these beads tend to bury whatever else I put them with. And so anyway, I feel like this year, as well as a Bluebird of Happiness, I think I'd like to put some kind of a hint of the beauty of space, a sun, a moon, a star in every book that I make. So that's one of my goals. And also I'm working on, side note, why I've got all these beautiful things to the side. When I make my own personal journal for 2024, it's going to have a space theme. So yeah, Kat gave me a book of space-named paper dolls. May gave me the most gorgeous bracelet I've ever seen of sun, moon, and stars. My boyfriend, Kenley, the love of my life, gave me a meteorite pendant with a blue topaz, my birthstone. Very special. And Kat gave me these really cool sun and moon earrings. I actually wore them on Halloween, dressed up as a mystic, and the kids went wild. That's a whole other story. But anyway, yeah, space-themed stuff. I just love it. One of my bucket list jewelry items, have you ever seen, they come up on my Instagram all the time, and probably because I always like them, they're always showing them to me. Just those really cool vintage gold brooches made up of opals and sometimes moonstones and diamonds or opals and diamonds. I've fallen in love with the way those things look, so that's on my one-day wish list. But meanwhile, I found this the last time I went out thrifting, and it looks so much like those little brooches that I decided that's my manifestation. Anyway, just lots of beautiful pieces in here, some genuine, some prints. This gorgeous image of fairies with the Pegasus, painted by Kat. If you hear background noise, that is our cat Domino digging in my pile of papers. This gorgeous little flip down girl with her kitties is holding some genuine printed rice paper, wood block printed rice paper from a Kuan Yin book from the late Edo period. So that's around the same era as the Victorian era. On some vintage wallpaper, some art paper for writing or drawing, some old music paper for collaging, a beautiful fabric sample from Kat, a money turtle, a Japanese tradition, keeping a money turtle in your wallet or where you keep your wealth is said to attract more of it. So what better to put in an abundance journal, manifestation journal. A little Om charm. More of Kat's gorgeous fairy girls. This one here on the top, I see so much of myself in this. It's not that I look like her necessarily, but the look on her face, I've seen that look on my own face in the mirror many days. Some vintage book pages. I stuck this lovely lady painted by Kat with a Bluebird of Happiness and her gorgeous, gorgeous necklace into a butterfly pocket. One day I'm going to do a book all about butterflies and fairies. And when I do, I'd love to read a story that Kat wrote that just really made me cry. One of the most beautiful little stories I've ever read about fairies and butterflies in a garden. Iris is in the center. A cool multi-stranded charm that I found in a junk jewelry jar. And then some natural gemstone beads, because you know I love to put some natural healing crystals in every book. We've got green aventurine, turquoise, a little butterfly, and some labradorite. I've got a story about labradorite that I'd like to share in a future video. I'm also going to talk more about healing crystals in the new year. Mahalakshmi. But I'll save that for when I make some jewelry videos again. This gorgeous Seed of Life charm. My friend Ivana sent me a few of these last year, and I've been meaning to send her a happy mail thank you, but I lost her address and then I couldn't find the charms. So as I was looking for other things to put in this journal, would you believe I found the envelope from her with all of these? So now I have her address to write her back, and I've got the little magic charms to put in the journals. More of that 1960s ledger. The other sides to these pretty things. Some Sears wallpaper from 1928. I love this one. It's one of my favorites with these bright pink and blue flowers. A vintage book page from either a German or a Dutch book. I'm not quite sure, but it had really cool little page end illustrations. And yeah, that's it. That's the back of the book. I kept this one simple with lots of space to fill up to add more magic and more manifested gifts and things. But in the back envelope, I have put what she really won. So Erica, this book is yours. You've manifested it. Her name on YouTube is Happy Mail Magic. There's also a scarab charm that just fell out of this little cool money envelope. So anyway, when I drew prizes for my December crafty giveaway, I drew Erica's name for the ephemera stuff, the third prize. But I remembered that she has posted some of the most loving, encouraging, supportive, just tear-jerkingly beautiful comments on some of my books. And I remembered that she had said that one of her goals for 2024 is that she will manifest being able to own one of my journals. And so as soon as I drew her name, I knew it was fate, because I've been thinking of sending her some happy mail. And this just made it obvious to me that it must be done. So yeah, it's a manifestation themed journal, and it is a manifested journal. I've used lots of beautiful materials that I feel like I manifested, and I'm sending it into the world to hopefully carry and spread more of that magic with it. So yeah, thank you so much, Erica. Your comments have made me cry. The last one you wrote, it was so beautiful. I read it out loud to my boyfriend and we were both in tears. It's not always easy to be a professional artist or a professional crafter, to put what we make online. Sometimes the algorithms boost us and sometimes the algorithms baffle us. Sometimes things sell immediately, other times they sit in the Etsy shop for years, and life can be quite unpredictable when we are, you know, living on our own, as opposed to with kind of the more stable, dependable sort of career choices others make. And so I feel that the ability to do what I do and to love what I do, it's not just my own manifestation, it's also a gift from you to me. You who are hearing these words, everyone who likes, subscribes, comments on my videos, supports my Etsy shop, or just encourages my art in any way. All the amazing, amazing, generous Lakshmis out there who have blessed me with an abundance of resources. Kat with all your art, May with just the most sumptuous fabrics and papers and sweet smelling, wondrous things from Saudi Arabia, and Kimberly, who recently surprised me with just a bountiful bundle of all different kinds of fabrics, sari fabrics and vintage fabrics and cottons and silks, and this really cool sort of a, I forget what they call it, like an upholstery fabric that I've used as my background. Just to everyone who has been so good to me, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am going to continue in 2024 to try to publish a new video every Saturday. And I'm also going to try to do more of the craft with me videos because to my complete delight and surprise, they were watchable and people liked them. So yay, thank you for that too. I'll do more. But meanwhile, I just couldn't resist sharing this journal. So Maggie, your paper doll book will be on the way. And Erica, your manifestation of this journal will be on the way by the time this gets published tomorrow. And I'll also try to do more giveaways in 2024 because, yeah, I receive so much beauty that I would love to put it out there a little bit more and also start sharing. So yeah, or not start, continue sharing, I should say. Anyway, before I babble on and make this unwatchable, just thank you for all the help with my channel here, to all those who do share and like and subscribe, etc. Happy crafting, happy new year, happy creative fulfillment in whatever craft or art you do. So much love, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.